Hello, you beautiful rejects. Welcome back to Rejection and Reflection. I'm your host, Gustavo Victor Carr. I also created this and thought about it, and it is my baby. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back. And today, I have my personal favorite female vocalist of all time, Melanie Amaro. Woo! This is when I should have producers to like add an applause and like sound effects and stuff like
Right, right. I need an applause.
that. There you go.
Okay.
If I could clap my feet
They're
and
like,
time to get like an audience. Yeah. Oh, you got a fan back there. Oh, you have a whole bunch of fans in here, Mel. Okay, did they know you were coming in today?
they had no idea. I'm just so glad that I was able to be a part,
Just
It really
alignment,
means a lot.
just perfect timing, everything aligning the way it's supposed to. I love that.
Indeed.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on this.
Of course. I mean, I love you, you know that. And I have since the time I met you. Even before that, before I even met you and then seeing you acting, I was like, I love that guy. I was like, I love him. And then when I finally met you and I put two and two together, I was like, oh, and I know you remember that moment backstage when I was like, oh my God, I know you. Oh my God, I know. And I freaked out, and then the rest is history. So
It is history, and it's so funny because you were a cheerleader, right? So it's like you were like a cheerleader who watched Bring It On. So it
yep.
was like a whole situation. And we met, for the audience out there. If you don't know, now you know, Melanie Amaro is the first winner of season 1 X Factor in the USA.
I am.
Yes, she's a big deal. All right. And I was an in-house dancer, basically meaning that I danced on every episode. So we met because we had to dance for her, right? For all the productions on
Yep.
stage and all that good stuff. And yes, she looked at me like that one day in rehearsal, and that's exactly how
And
it
it
happened.
clicked, and I was like, Jesse, oh my God. And I couldn't believe it. I freaked out, and I was like, oh my, because I had always said to myself, I was like, I just love him. I'm like, and I had like a little crush on you for a little while. And I was like, yeah. No, seriously, I was like, I'm crushing on him. Like, and then I saw you, and then, like I said, it just was like, it clicked. And me was just like, for every day since then, every time I see you, I'm like, hey, boo. You're like, hey, boo.
Well, it was perfect because
was.
I, at that moment, had already heard you sing and felt your presence and been around you, and I was a fan of you. So it was that nice, I love that like camaraderie and that like reciprocal respect and admiration for somebody.
Yeah.
It was just already there in that moment.
And you made me feel so comfortable, like, because Dave dancers around me and everything, and the pressures, everything. You'd always be like, babe, you got this. You got this. Don't worry about it. You got it. Like, you gonna kill this. This is nothing for you. And you always gave me that little confidence that I needed to like go out there and really kill it. So I love and appreciate you more than I think you really know.
Oh, you're making me cry in here.
Don't cry. Don't cry. Get you a box of tissues or something, because I'm gonna get emotional. I'm telling you. I'm hormonal.
You are a Cancer, so
I'm telling you, like, I'm a Cancer. I'm hormonal right now. Like,
well, honestly, it wasn't. I wasn't blowing smoke up your ass. I saw everything that you exude and what creates you, and the Nova that you shine as. And I'm just grateful that we were able to meet in that space and time, and I could just fan your flame and just assure you of the reality, because it's hard in this business. It's really, really hard. I've had people, how I was for you, people for me, many times in my career, and it's because I am who I am because of that. Because it set in those moments of the doubt to just get it out, and that, as RuPaul would say, that inner saboteur. I call him Sabotavo. And I had somebody else that basically was able to just give me that thing, where then, because I didn't have the strength myself to tell Sabotavo to shut the fuck up that day, to come in, for the universe, for God, whatever that is, to just give me that voice that I needed to then have my own voice to say, yo, you're not existing today. I'm here fully in this moment and ready to do me. And then when you can just unleash and be yourself, boom, right?
Yeah. But man, that is so true. Like, I think we all kind of need that push from a special somebody who's like, who you feel genuinely has your back, is saying it in the best interest, and is not like in any way malicious or envious or any. So I always felt that there was a couple people, but you were absolutely one of the most important, that was always on stage with. It's different when you're like off stage, off to the side, and you'll say, but like, you were on stage with me. And I'll never forget, one of the favorite episodes of mine was our Christmas one, where you give me the present and you looked up at me and you were like, I was like, I love you It was beautiful. Like it kind of gave me our little friendship moment, and I was like, "It's my guy, man. I love him." So, like, seriously, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the journey that we got a chance to meet and be who we are together and do what we both love. I was getting a chance to sing, you was getting a chance to dance, and so I embraced you and I just loved you, and I'm so grateful for you. Just want to say that.
Likewise. Likewise. Thank you. So to cut to even this journey that we've kind of started talking about already, when did you realize you could sing?
When did I realize I could sing? My mom let her tell it.
Sang.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Not just
Yes.
sang, okay? Because there's a difference in singing and saying.
A
But you're
million
right.
percent.
My mother let her tell it. She said I was about 4 or 5 months old when I started to hum and make little noises. She said that there was this weird time during the night, 3 a.m. every morning. I would get up, sit up with my eyes closed, rock myself in my crib, and start to hum, and then go right back to sleep. She said at one point she thought about calling the pastor and asking, is she like possessed? Is she good? Like, why does she do it? Was, she said, every night like clockwork, it was the same thing. I would get up at the same time, start to hum and make noises, and then go right back to sleep. And she said she was concerned, but then she realized that it was just, the Holy Spirit coming over me to sing. And so I've been singing since I was a baby. I mean, I don't have any recollection of that, but my mama and my family do. So, but as far as I know, I've been probably singing since I was maybe 4 or 5, and that's as far back as I can remember. And then I started singing in church. I took part in anything that came my way: church, a choir, competitions. It didn't matter. If I had a chance to sing, I was doing it.
3 a.m. I don't know if you know, 3 a.m. is the magic hour.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's 3 a.m. is supposed to be like basically when the universe is the most open and the most potent energy is available for us to connect to divine source, to God, to the energy of all creation. So signs like you
Sounds like he was touching
you
me.
are anointed.
Come on, somebody.
I mean, that's insane. I mean, well,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm so happy that because you still sing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Haven't strayed away from your destiny.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. I couldn't run away from this even if I wanted to. I mean, I tried to for a while.
When?
After, we'll get into that because I think there was a time where I went almost a year and I didn't sing professionally. We'll get to that. I promise. It's gonna get juicy. There might be some tears shed. I won't lie to you, because every time I think about it and the journey that I've had and where I am now and how blessed I am, it blows my mind. I'm like, oh my God, how did I survive that? How did I get through that? Like, things people don't know, and people don't know that I endured and I dealt with. Like, so I'm so grateful because I'm here today. I'm stronger. I'm a mom of 3 beautiful boys. I'm in a relationship that I think is one of the most fulfilling and beautiful relationships I've ever been in. I am happy. I'm gonna get married soon, and yeah, like, it's coming in order. We know we want to spend our lives together, so that's definitely gonna happen. But it's just a time of when. But I'm just so blessed. I'm so blessed.
I'm so happy to hear you say all this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely deserve it.
Thank you.
You do.
See, look, and I'm already gonna start crying if we okay.
Get it in.
Sorry.
It's okay. Tears are great. I love tears. You're a Cancer. I'm a Cancer rising and a Scorpio. So tears are very common for me because I'm an emotional being, and
Me too.
it's a beautiful thing that we tap into that, because that means we're able to overflow with these emotions that we're supposed to feel here in this place, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're both can be sobbing with
Okay.
boogers and
Oh,
snot.
well, I'm ready. Oh Lord, I need to get some tissue or something because I'm gonna be over here. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, in my shirt and stuff. I'm like, no, Melanie, don't. All right.
Polka dotted now? Green polka dots?
Where?
I'm kidding, from the snot.
That was a good one. I was like, wait, what? Okay. That was good. That was good. That was good.
All right, well, let's get into the tear jerking stuff then.
Oh.
So when do you feel, all right, so let's just talk in regards to like music right now, and we'll transverse and go back further when it's appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think was the most poignant time of rejection in your life to get you to this moment, the moments that you want to seek into that are deep and juicy, like you said?
I have more than one rejection in my life that I think led up to the woman that I am today. I had a lot of no's. I got a lot. You know, it's crazy. One of those no's is going back even to X Factor. Fort Lauderdale in Miami. I was living in Fort Lauderdale and the audition was down in Miami. And they had a thing on Channel 7 News, CBS, Channel 7 News, or I'm sorry, WSBN is what it's called. Channel 7 News. And they had a contest where you can get a flash pass to go to the front of the line of the X Factor to audition. And I tried out. And the judge that was there, he looked at me and told me, I don't think you're very good. And they had like the effects, kind of like we were talking about in the beginning, going, ooh, and they had the effects in the background going off, and it kind of crushed me. And I could have taken that and gone home after they rejected me, but I was like, I'm not gonna let that detour me. Because after that whole flash pass thing, I was like, I'm going home. I'm not gonna continue on this nonsense. I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm not gonna, and because he straight up told me he don't think I got what it takes, and he told me I can't sing. And for me to open up and sing Celine Dion, "'Cause I'm your lady," and I did that, and he goes, I don't think you can sing very well. He was like, to be honest, your vibrato is to this, and you're.
Who is this guy? Oh, should we not?
I don't remember his name, but if I ever find him, I want to be like, what did you say again?
Well, first of all, say thank you. Say thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. But hang on, let me go back just for a second before I forget though, because when did you realize what you wanted to do was even sing? Like, when did that happen?
It hit me like a ton of bricks. My very first gig was a wedding that I did, and I sang at a reception, and I got paid $50.
Go off, baller.
Listen, when I tell you I went home with my $50 and I told my mama, quit your job. I'm paying off the house. I'm gonna buy you a car. Listen, my little 11-year-old self was like, Ma, you ain't got to work. I got $50. I want to take you out there. And I remember us sitting in the car, me and my mom, and she was in tears. And she said, you see that spirit that you always want to take care of the people that you love, even with the littlest that you think is so much? She said, that spirit is going to take you far. She said, Melanie, your heart is so big. She said, it's a good thing, but then it's a bad thing. Because my mom always told me she worried about me getting taken advantage of, in which that happened a lot too. Again, more stuff to the, it was a lot that happened. But she said that same spirit, she said, God is going to take you places because of that spirit that you have about you. She always said that to me. And she was like, that same, and I remember saying to myself, so I can't pay all your bills, Mom. I can't buy you a car with this. She was like, no, baby. She's like, that's not enough. And it drove me to want to be able to help my mom and take care of my mom and make my family proud, and just do the best thing I knew how to do for myself. And just, I just wanted to do what I loved. But it was a driving force behind me that I was like, you know what? I want to take care of my mom. I want to take care of my family. I want to make sure that my family doesn't have a want or need for anything. So I think at around age 12 was when I was like, I'm just going to start taking things seriously. I started to record. My mom was, working 2 jobs at the time. She was working and just putting all her little money into getting me in the studio, and her printing out these little CDs. And we used to sell them when I sang at places, we used to sell them for like $5. And she'd be like, support my baby, support my, and I used to go from church to church, because I used to minister, and I was a psalmist. So I used to go and I used to sing at different churches, and she'd be like, just support my baby. And I used to sing on my little CDs, and she used to sell them. And it was me and my mom for the longest. We grinded it out. You hear me? That I owe so much to my mom.
Shout out.
I don't even think I've been as good to her as she's been to me. And I still owe her so much. She is just everything to me, because she has been the driving force behind my career. It's like, Mel, you got it, baby. Like, keep going. Like, mommy got your back. Like, and like I said, there's been times when I wasn't good to her, and she still continued to be good to me.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for my mom. And it's crazy how God put so many people in your life to push you along the journey. Because along with my mom, I never would have thought I would have found a man that was going to like jump into my journey with me and like be in the mud with me and go through everything with me and be the one to be like, do you know who you are? You are Melanie Amaro, girl.
Yeah.
He was like, you don't realize who. He was like, you have one of the most beautiful voices. And to just have somebody to just, especially after not having that, and failed relationship after failed relationship, to finally find somebody that just, oh man.
Well, to find that person in the likeness of your mother who saw you for purely who you are and accepts you for who you are and embraces that and encourages that and champions that. It takes all of those people that rejected you, all that pain, all that heartache, to really be able to step into it starts with the mama, right? It starts with mama saying, "Hey, I see you," and then giving you the affirmation of what your spirit knows you are, but not really being able to put it into words as a child, right? But that's what moms do. Then they see you and they put it into words, and you're like, "Oh yes, this feels right," and then the world happens.
Yep.
Especially for people, because I can relate, that have a big heart and are really loving and want to give. This entertainment industry swallows and chews and spits us up,
Yeah.
doesn't care. They
Nope.
don't, that energy isn't something that normally thrives in this industry, especially in your youth. But the good thing is that those trials and that testimony that you have to live through to get to this place of where you are now and where you will continue to climb, it just means life will get better as it goes on
Yeah.
in time.
Absolutely.
The older you get,
And
because you're starting to embrace your authenticity,
yeah.
and it's only because of all of those fuck faces that didn't do
For lack
you
of better words.
that you can really do that, and especially having support like that from your mom and all those things. So I wanted to just let you know it's gonna just keep getting better from here.
Amen. I received that.
And
Oh, I received it.
plenty of time to keep giving back to your mother what you feel like you still need to give to her.
Indeed.
And I guarantee you she doesn't need anything else from you, because whether you're aware of it or not, I'm sure that you have given her all the joy in the world. And you are a gift, Melanie.
You met my mom backstage
Yes.
the night that I did The World's Greatest in that blue dress. And she came backstage and I was like, "Mom, I want you to meet Gus." And then you guys met, and then you made my mom, when I tell you she was bloodshot red, you was like, "Oh, I see where Mel gets her looks from." And you had my mama blushing, Gus. Like she was over there like stop it. Like you had her on cloud nine. Like you really had that. You had my mama like blushing, and she was like, "Oh, he's handsome."
Well, it was real, Mama. You really did look like.
Well, I mean, I always get that. I'm like, everybody always tells me I look exactly like my mom.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh my God, girl, she was anybody else in the room with her when she conceived? Like, or was it just her? Like, did your dad actually play a part? Like, it's hilarious.
An immaculate conception? Like what happened?
Yeah, like, did she do that on her own? Because I can't tell if she had any help.
It's amazing. Speaking of, not to get too deep, but just kind of question for just, was your dad in the picture growing up? Was it just your mom and you?
My dad,
and that's just too much.
no, it's okay. Me and my dad have a good relationship now, but it definitely wasn't great growing up.
Was
My
he in the
dad
picture?
struggled a lot and had a lot of demons that he was fighting. So it took him a while to kind of get it together. He dealt with a lot of different things. I mean, if I'm gonna tell my story, I'm gonna tell it authentically. My dad was at one point on drugs, and just different things that my dad dealt with, and like I said, demons that he had to fight. And of course he had my mom in his corner pushing him to get it together, like to be the man that he needed to be for his family. And because of that, it made my mom have to make a very tough decision to send her children away to the islands. And my grandmother raised me. My grandmother and all my aunts, they took me in while my mom was trying to get my dad and her husband in order and trying to get him on his feet to, get him clean and make sure that he was, so again, my mama, if he didn't, I don't know what he would have done if he didn't have my mama, because she put a lot of work and time into making my dad a better man. Okay.
And it worked out in the end, like they still stayed together and like
they're still together and whatnot. And it has been a rocky road, but my parents are still married.
wow.
36 years now. Yeah,
that is the testimony.
A long time. And like I said, it has not been an easy road for my mom and dad, and they have definitely gone through a whole lot together as a couple. And then they've had their own battles that they fought individually. So, but I mean, like I said, growing up, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my dad. There was a lot of things that changed that made me. I hate the word. I don't want to use the word hate. I don't like hate. I strongly disliked a lot of the things that he did that caused a lot of hurt to me and my family. But we talked. We had a very long conversation, tearful, emotional conversation, and he apologized finally, you know, and it's crazy because I think I was waiting for that for so long for him to finally be like, I'm sorry for everything that I did. And when I finally received that, that's when I was like, now when he says I'm sorry, I'm like, okay, I've heard it before. But that first genuine one that I felt came out was like the opening door for me for healing, to start really letting go a lot of the things that happened. And now me and my dad talk all the time. I love my dad. I love my dad. And he is a wonderful man. And like I said, he had his demons that he had to face, and he has been fighting them. And over the years, he's gotten better. And I mean, we still have our days where I'm like, whatever, and me and him fighting fuss. But I mean, what dad and daughter, or mom and dad, or whoever don't fight? Like, it's family, you
We're
know.
all
We're
human.
good now. We're super good now. I love my dad.
We're human. We're all human. And I think, especially in our youth, and even when we're young, we don't at all. But we forget that our parents are human.
Yep. And
They're
they're living this life for the first time, just like you.
Yes, they're the book wasn't there to just give them the roadmap of how to come forward, and life is going to give us twists and turns, and we're all on our own individual journey, and
Yep.
can't judge anybody because we all wear different shoes, and nobody walks in my shoes and
Yep.
knows everything that's going on within me and how the world's going to impact that or not. And we can only give grace to people because that's what life is about most of the time, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, and I'm so happy that you were able to come to that closure, into that place of peace with your father,
Yep.
and that your mom is such an amazing woman to still stay by him during all that, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that he had it.
Endured
Just
a lot. She endured a lot. But
I
again, woman is strong. That's probably the strongest woman I think I've ever met. Like, and outside of her just being my mom, just like if she wasn't my mom and I just saw her or knew her as like just somebody that I know, I would still say the same thing, because what she endures, her heart is so big. She's just been such a wonderful person, and God is going to bless her tremendously for everything. How many times she's put herself out there for so many people to just bless them, people that she didn't even know or didn't even know all that well, and she was just like, I just feel God talking to me, and I'm gonna just bless you. That's my mama all day long, and I think I got that whole hit of that from her. Where I'm the same way. Anybody that comes with a sob story, or anybody who comes to me with, so I'm so I empathize with them and I sympathize, and I'm like, oh, I feel you. Let me help you, like in any kind of way. So I definitely got that from my mom. But again, it's been a great thing, and then I've had my moments where I'm like, dang, why did I get this from my mom? Like, oh, like I wish I could tell them person no. I wish that, you know. So
what you just said is really, really important, because as much as the great things that are passed down to us by our mothers are wonderful and amazing traits, there's also lots of things that they still didn't work out themselves that we ended up taking on ourselves, and innately, not authentically. So it's really important to have those moments of realization and be thoughtful in observing our parents and being like, am I you
right.
or am I me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay for you to be that way and me not to be that way, and for me to still be me, because once you start to find your own voice outside of that innate imprint from our parents, is really when we can flourish. And then we can actually then start to love ourselves for those things, because what happens is we don't like ourselves for being that way,
That way, yep.
and we
Yeah.
blame them, but it's really just because it's not who we are. It's that
Yeah.
resistance that we're internally facing, right? And again, our parents are just dealing with their shit too. You know, they didn't, especially back then, the accessibility we have to like self-growth and help is just such on a different level now
Than they
than
had.
they did. And they were born in different circumstances. Like these kids nowadays, they got social media. Ugh,
Yeah, I didn't grow up
good
with social
luck.
media. We didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have none of
Good
that.
luck to all these kids, because it's
Yes,
a
it's
lot. But
crazy.
they were dealing with war literally happening at the time, and their parents were drafted. Like the circumstances of the consciousness were in a different phase and a different energy then, and we got
Yeah,
to
you're
be
absolutely
aware of how that moves through all of us collectively, generationally as well. Because when we can do that, it's easier to forgive, and when you forgive, then you can let live, and
yeah.
you can like be at peace, right?
That was beautiful. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Like that was really good. Like, come on, we need to record that and make that a clip just on its own and go put that out.
Well, thanks for the timestamp. Now I'll know where to cut it.
Listen, we need to cut that out, just that one piece, and just put it out there, okay? Because that was beautiful. That truly was beautiful, and you hit it on the head, 100%. You definitely hit it on the head.
Well, I'm glad you're hitting on the head and figuring out who you are outside of having to be what your mother is, and still realizing that those things are authentic in you.
Yeah,
Giving that common nature, because I like to use astrology as this thing in the sense of like, because you're a Cancer, so like that is nurturing, loving, giving. That's the trait of like what a Cancer is. So that is innately you. And your mom did that. What sign is your mom?
my mom's a Capricorn.
And they're like that too, because they're polar opposites, like the opposite side of the sign, zodiac, whatever. But yeah, but like everyone has their thing. I know that you're still a devout Christian, right? You still go to church. You're still in the choir.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
We all have our things. We all have our things that help us, and well, at least, well, we try to be the best version that we can be. Not everyone, but people that are willing to or wanting to.
Yeah, and keyword there, try, because I fall short of His grace every day. I'm not perfect. I sin. I mean, I know it. You could look at me and be like, "Oh, she got 3 kids and she ain't married."
No,
and two. And
no,
but guess what? They're a blessing. They're a blessing.
In my mind, I never would ever look at it that way, but I understand how somebody else of a different mindset would. I give grace to everybody. And I guess in the terminology or the cadence of what Christians would want is, I think we should be able to give that grace that God is supposed to give to us every day and forgiveness to everybody else. Judgment free, no judgment.
Right.
Your journey is unique to you, and nobody should ever be able to have any weight to what that means for you. You have kids, like you just said, they're blessings. That's amazing. How that came about is nobody's fucking business. This is your journey. Yes. So I hope that you have that relationship with God where you can be like, I get it. I'm doing my best. And that's all I can do, because I know that at least the God that I believe in, that's all that they care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they ain't leaving your side no matter what.
Yeah. So I think what you said, that was very, very good. I think, that same grace that God gives us is that we should give it to others. And I think I'm trying to find that too with a lot of friends and family now. Is I always say to myself, Mel, grace, give them a little grace. I'm dealing with that with so many different people. And I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with it, because I'm like, why can't they just get it together? Like, why can't they? Then I'm like, Mel, grace. So that's absolutely 100% true. And again, you hitting it on the head.
Well, let me also say though, with grace doesn't mean that you can't set boundaries, because boundaries are essential.
Yeah.
And I think it's a collective consciousness that's happening now, or at least the people. I think that we're all like, when we touch and we connect in this lifetime, it's because we are on some type of the same wavelength. And everybody close in my life right now, everything you just said about having a hard time doing that, myself included, is learning that boundaries are really important in that process.
Yeah.
And also what I've been learning, and the people in my circle, whatever you want to call it, my soul tribe, whatever you want to call it, they're also realizing that it's okay to just let them be that way and not have to do anything about it. I don't need to teach them anything. Their truth is their truth. They can live their life. And if our truths align and we can see each other in the same space, then we can have a vision that is shared and move forward. But if not, I can still give you grace and make sure that I protect my energy and let you live in that space and in your world that is going to negatively impact me if it stays there. So I'm going to keep it there.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Get on. Absolutely. I agree.
It's really important.
Yeah.
It's that thing that we kind of can forget and not really, we can get stuck in that cycle then. And then we're stuck in that cycle trying to change or accept or see somebody else and then feel bad for not. It's that never ending hamster wheel, and opposed to just getting off the wheel and just be like, hold up, I'm dizzy.
Yeah, right. I can't take that on. I can't take it.
I can't take that on. And I know I've done my best and I've tried. And now I realize that that's all I needed to do. And I can just send them well wishes. Right.
Very well said. Very well said. Very well said.
All right. Enough about all that. I mean, it is all thing, but I want to get to you again.
We can stay on things all day. We'll get on one topic and be like,
just keep going.
Just keep going.
I really believe that. I don't think we meet anybody that we're not supposed to meet. I don't believe in coincidences, you
Yeah.
know. And we definitely had that innate connections from the jump. So I'm
From
not
the
surprised you're dealing with what you're dealing with.
Yep.
Okay, so you got into singing. You were like, "I'm gonna take care of you, mama, because I got $50 and we're rich and famous and we're
Uh-huh.
moving to a mansion."
Yep.
And
Yep.
so you decided to pursue that. Anytime in your youth, did anybody when you were younger or was that man at X Factor? Uh, was he the first person to tell you that you couldn't sing, or did anybody say that before?
No, I've had a lot of people tell me that before. Tell me that, my voice is too strong. I need to learn how to control this. I need to, I need to not belt so much, and I need to be softer. And like, I'm not no, I'm not a whisper singer. I don't do that. I am a soulful singer who I am compared to a lot by the big greats who are singers, the Celines, the Mariahs, the Arethas. I mean, you name it. And then the biggest one of all that I'm constantly getting compared to is Whitney. And she wasn't a whisper singer. Granted, Whitney knew how to manipulate her voice so much to make it do what it do. She is absolutely the GOAT. She is the greatest of all time in my book. And that's my opinion. You ain't got to agree with me. Anybody else watching, you don't got to agree. That's fine.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
But she
I'm
is
with you.
the greatest vocalist of all time. And I love that woman so much. She poured into me more than I think she even knows. But I think I met her 2 days before she passed. I will never forget it. Never forget it. I was in my doctor's office, and Dr. Nasiri, you can look him up. He is one of the most prominent ENTs.
Yeah, I've gone to him.
Dr. Nasiri, I was in Dr. Nasiri's office, and I was nervous. I was a nervous wreck. I had a performance the next day to go perform. I think it was for a pre-Grammy party that I was going to. Oh, for the love of R&B. That's where I was going. And I couldn't sing. I had no voice. So I was nervous, and I was like, oh my God, I have to sing tomorrow, and I don't have no voice. I was hoarse. Because I had just finished like gigging and stuff. So my voice was tired, and it was just shot.
And
so
the series is a wizard with the voice. So
oh my gosh. So I went to him, and he gave me some stuff, and he was like, take this and hush. He was like, don't talk, don't speak, let your voice rest. He was like, just take this and just go home, relax. He was like, try to not talk, lots of warm liquids, try to, relax and just. But as I was heading out of his office, he was like, can you just hold on for me for just one moment, Mel? I was like, okay. I was like, what's going on? He said, somebody next door wants to meet you real bad. And so in my mind, I'm thinking it's like a fan that probably just saw that I won the show who wants to meet me. So I'm like, okay, I mean, sure. Like, let's, bring him in. Like, or he was like, well, I'm going to take you next door. He said, give me a second. So he walks out of the room, and I'm sitting there on his little chair with all his plaques in his office. If you've been to Dr. Nasir, you know all his plaques, all the artists.
He works with everybody.
And then what's crazy is earlier on, I heard him telling Ariana Grande on the phone, because she was speaking to him on the phone, and he was like, well, he's like, when you come back, just come see me. And I was like, who's that? He was like, oh, that was Ariana.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on a first name basis.
Sweetest, coolest guy.
I love Dr. Nasiri. I love Dr. Okay.
I do too.
So anyway, so I'm sitting up there, and he said, come here. He said, the person's ready to meet you. So I'm in the mirror like, I'm like, okay, so getting prepped to take a picture with a fan. I'm thinking it's a fan. So we walk up, and on the little thing on the board, it says WH. So it didn't register. I was like, because you know how they have the little letters on the manila folders kind of saying like who.
Yeah, I can't say the full name because it's her. Yeah. So
yeah. I walk in to a curly wig.
I have chills everywhere.
Back, toward like back, and she turns around, hair flips, hands on hips. Melanie Amaro. She said, girl, I've been waiting. Oh, Jesus, look.
Yeah, she's like, I'm on fire right now.
She said, girl, I've been waiting to meet you. Guess when I tell you, I have never ugly cried so bad before. Like,
I'm crying right now. I'm thinking about it.
Like snot and just, and she walks up and she grabs my face and she goes, honey. She said, why are you crying? I said, it's you. And she said, oh, she said, you too sweet. She said, stop. She wipes my tears, wipes my face. And she goes, I just wanted to tell you. She said, I've been watching you. She said, I just want to tell you, she said, honey, you have an anointing on your voice. You have an anointing on your voice. She said, honey, and you got to keep going. She said, I'm passing you the torch of great singers. She said, you better keep going. She said, you hear me? She grabbed my chin. She pulled my head up because I was looking down and I was crying. She said, look at me. She said, you are an anointed singer. She said, you don't never let nobody stop that. She said, you will continue to use that voice for God. You hear me? Continue to use that voice. Continue to be a wonderful singer. She said, and then Dr. Asiri was like, oh, I know she has to go where she's kind of running behind. She was like, oh, she's like, but honey, I just wanted to embrace you and just she hugged me again. I grabbed that woman. I felt like I didn't want to let go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just smelling her like, oh God, Whitney. And then she was like, she said, I just wanted to tell you. She said, but I just want you to know I'm looking and I'm watching you. And I was like, thank you so much. I said, I love you. I didn't get to grab a picture, nothing. It was such a short time. And I knew that she was in a meeting. Plus, she had also told me TMZ didn't know she was there. And she was trying to avoid. She was trying to stay out the public eye is what she was basically explaining. She was like, but I really, really wish. That's the only thing I regret. It was like, but in the moment, I left my phone next door in his office, in the other office, because she was in the other suite. And I didn't even think like, can I get that moment was so authentic. I didn't think about, hey, picture, can I get a, no, she spoke into me. And there is 3 people who were in that room who witnessed it. Dr. Nasiri's nurse assistant, Whitney, Dr. Nasiri, and and the lady that was with her, it was a taller lady that was with Whitney. I can't remember her name, but I saw her at the Beverly Hilton when everything transpired. And when I saw her, I was like, she was in the office. Oh, Lord. So when I met her and she spoke into me, that is why I say that woman, her spirit, her aura, everything about her, her voice, I love her. I miss her. And I live every day with my voice, hoping that I'm doing what she told me that she knew I could do, was to keep going. And I'm now working on my very first Whitney Houston tribute called Passing the Torch.
Yes, that's perfect.
I am working on it now. It is being sold in Fort Lauderdale at Century Village Club in Fort Lauderdale. Well, it's Deerfield, but I am doing that right now. It is a 1,500 seat theater, and we just sold out.
When is it?
It's March 10th, and it's in Deerfield Beach in Florida. And I'm working we're finishing up the final touches for the show and everything. And I am going to be doing all of Whitney's greatest hits. And yeah, man, I'm so grateful that I got that chance because, getting ready for Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party 2 days later, and then seeing all the things on the news, Whitney Houston passed, blah, blah, I rolled my eyes. I was like, I just met this woman. Why? We're not going to stop with these lies. Like, I counted off. I'm like, please, that's nonsense. I just met this woman. She's fine. There was nothing wrong. And so I called Dr. Nasiri and he was like, no, he said, this is ridiculous. He said, me and you, we just saw her. And I was like, yeah. And I'll never forget it. Spencer Barnes was doing my makeup. And then we got the confirmation and I saw them filming at the Beverly Hilton and I saw that they had the stretcher and they were rolling her body out. And then that's when it got real. So I arrived to Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party that year, carrying my speaker, blasting her music, and walking the red carpet with my speaker, blasting her music to honor her. It was an emotional time for me because, like I said, it was absolutely ordained by God for me to meet her before he brought her home. I had to. I don't want to say idolize because I don't like the word idolize. It's because, there's no one above God. But there was this woman I looked up to and loved her voice and wanted to be just like her and emulate her vocal ability, everything. To get a chance to finally meet her. And then in that just a quick moment, the next couple of days after, off of this world, it just
everything.
Oh man, guess
for a reason. The older I get, the more I can never deny that as being fact.
Yeah.
There are no coincidences and alignment is a real thing. I am so happy that you were able to have that experience. And I hope that it stays in you to keep sharing that voice. And this industry is hard. And she's probably the first person that would have told you that. It's kind of dark too.
Yeah.
It's it's some shit. And so to be able to still be the light and shine as authentically yourself and your best self, it doesn't come easy, but there's always a way. There's always a way. And sometimes the vision is there and it turns out looking a little different. But as long as you keep fulfilling your heart's desire and living authentically, the story will be told. So
Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm just so grateful. Like I said, so grateful. But just wanted to share that because
I'm so happy you did.
I know it went from that's the best vocalist alive, and then it went to something else. So I'm sorry.
It was a perfect transition. That was amazing.
Man.
That was magic. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Got me crying. I think on my towels right there. So
I ain't got nothing, so I'm gonna have to
get that green polka dot going. Gosh, that's incredible. Sorry, I'm still kind of trying to digest that. Like,
I trust me. I every day I think about it, and I'm like, yo, that happened so organically. It just happened. Like I didn't plan it. I wasn't even dressed for it. I was in a sweatpants and a t-shirt, and I had my hood up, and I looked busted, dusted because I wasn't feeling good, and I just needed to go into his office to find out what's going on with my voice. So it just happened so organically. Just happened. It just happened.
So, but is that probably like, yeah, that's probably up on the top echelon of experiences that you've had
ever had. Yep, absolutely. I think it goes down in like the top 5 things that's ever happened to me. Like, wow.
And that's those moments that help you really give you the confidence and like that little voice on your shoulder when like things don't work out, right? I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Those are needed. Those are really, really needed.
Yeah, I revert back to that moment every time I doubt myself a little bit, and I'm like, well, maybe you're not that good, or maybe you. And I'll go back to, girl, you have an anointing on your voice, and hearing her voice echoing in my head when she said it to me, and that she's passing the torch of great singers to. Oh, Jesus.
Look, I'm not Whitney Houston, okay? But I am going to ask you a favor right now.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever question if you have a good voice or not.
Like, it happens. It does. And I might
have an off day because you're not feeling well. And I guarantee you're not having an off day. But for yourself, you're having an off day because you don't feel connected to it or some circumstance. But your off day is never going to be anything short of great. I don't ever want you to doubt how of an incredible of a singer you are. Seriously, please don't ever do that again.
Like I said, and it goes back to those rejections that sometimes make me be like, well, am I good? Or it happens. I like I told you, I've had many of them. It goes back from music teachers that I had that was like, oh, well, you got a lot to work on. You still have a lot to learn. Like,
and that's okay though.
Hearing the
back then you did. You know what I mean?
Like I was hearing those. I mean, it's cool. Like you can sing, and I'm like, okay, so can I sing, or is you just like saying that because I'm paying you to help me with vocal lessons? My mom, shortly after my very first vocal lesson, told me, I'm pulling you out of this. You don't need that. You don't need it. You got everything. Get you on YouTube and go ahead and you work on your own little breathing stuff. And I didn't have no kind of formal training after that. After my mom heard how the guy basically had told me, you got a lot to work on. You got a lot. I don't think you. My mama was like, took me up out of there. She was like, you don't need it. And I kept telling myself that. I'm like, I don't need it. After that, I dealt with more rejection. I was in high school, another rejection. And I will never forget it. My drama teacher, he passed away a couple years ago. May he rest in peace. I don't hate him. I appreciate Mr. Levine's no's because it allowed me to be, the woman I am today, another part of my journey. His no, I'll never forget it. I was in the 10th grade and I went out for the part of Sandy in Grease. And he told me he don't think my voice is good enough for that. It's too strong for Sandy and I am too big. He's looking for a slimmer Sandy. I've always been a big girl. I've always been voluptuous, booty and titties for days. So, and in high school, I was the same way. I was a voluptuous girl. So when he told me, I'm looking for a smaller Sandy and your voice is just too powerful for the role. And he gave it to somebody else. And then he put me in the background. He gave me a chorus part to sing as one of the background. Tell me more, tell me more. And I was just like, why am I in the background? Why am I in the background?
Yeah.
My voice is not, it's not, I'm not for backgrounds, you know, nothing to back, but my voice is just too strong to sit in the background. I just, you know, so I was like,
You
cool.
would be a great background singer for someone that needs a strong vocalist.
Yeah, if you need help, that's fine. Because
Yeah.
I have
But
sang,
for that, no. Yeah.
another humbling part of my journey was singing backgrounds for certain artists. I sang background for Marvin Sapp. I sang backgrounds for James Fortune. I sang backgrounds for different Christian artists and stuff like that when they came into, you know, church. I sang backgrounds for Jonathan Nelson. I've done that, so I know that I can do it. I've done those Christian artists before and sang backgrounds for them, so I know I could do it. But again, it's like, I had to be picked out from there. It was like, you're not a background vocalist. Get in the front. Like, this is not. But I mean, it was all a part of my journey. But I tried out again for another one of his plays the next year, and he did it again. I went out for Mama Mom, what's her name? Mama in Chicago. I went out for the part of Mama, who was Queen Latifah in the movie.
Yeah.
I went out for her part again, which was perfect. You already told me I was too voluptuous. Mama is voluptuous. Like, it's perfect. I went out for it. He didn't give it to me. He gave it to a freshman, I believe, or somebody else and I'm like, really? We're doing this again? So, and then I asked him why, and he was like, oh, I just don't think you fit the role. It sounds like you hate him, boss.
It's hard because a lot of people do hate in this industry, and it's because their own unhappiness and their jealousy, whether they're even conscious of it or not, it happens repeatedly to us.
This ain't even in the industry. This was high school.
In life. Yeah, I'm
like, this ain't
life.
Even in the industry. This is in high school. He had already shot all my dreams down of doing anything, and I loved musical theater. Like, I had a full scholarship to AMDA.
Why aren't you doing musical theater right now?
I don't know. People always tell me, Mel, you so animated and you so like, and I've heard that for years. They're like, girl, you would be perfect for theater. Like, you such a damn goofball, and you just, you know, your personality is just. So I've heard that so many times, and they were like your voice is big enough for it. But I don't know. It's just, so if any agents out there listening, if you're trying to get me on Broadway, holla at your girl.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
Listen, if you're serious, because I mean, like I said, I want to do Disney. I love doing voiceovers. I did a couple independent things. They were okay. They were fun, but it gave me a chance to get my feet wet. And I was like, I want to do this on a regular. I love voiceover. Like, and I've always been told I have that Disney princessy type voice that I can, and I know so I mean, anybody out there listening, I mean, Gus, you already said, so holla at me, slide in my DMs.
Yeah, seriously, there's no reason.
There go the thing right there.
It's, you know, it's crazy, and it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But you won the biggest reality show on television, especially back then, and you're still not represented by somebody who's getting you in to be playing the leads on Broadway, and it blows my mind. I mean, look, you knew me from my accolades before we even met, and I still am back in the space of trying to build my thing up so that I'm getting in the right rooms again, because it goes to that ebb and flow. So I get it, but this is just how it goes, because even these instances of rejection, quote unquote, of not having that thing, it's hard because people think you're done. They think their time was over. Da, 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 da. There's so many of these excuses, aka reasons for rejection. And it's very easy to accept that if you want to, because it is a arduous journey, and it's not easy, and it's exhausting, and you starve most of the time, and you question your ability. So can you bring your best to it? But when you're able to persevere beyond all of that and continue to show up, that's when just alignment happens, and you just become more clear and more definitive and more hungry, and that drive becomes resilience. So all of that rejection that we all face, these people at the top, some of them, it was easy for them. Absolutely. But for a lot of them, especially the ones that hit later in life, it was hard. And that it was because of it being hard, why their greatness couldn't be unseen. So you just keep letting all of these things happen and be resilient and move past it. And that's why I'll say it again. Don't ever question if you can sing or not. Because if you can move past all of these obstacles, you're going to be exactly where you're supposed to be.
Amen.
It's not easy. You got 3 kids. The people don't realize how difficult it is. I mean, even for me just to try to stay in shape, you know what I mean? And I'm not even saying to be, you know, you're J-Lo and I love her and you got all that stuff and you're 60 or not, she's not 60 or someone else that's 60 and looks amazing. You know, they got all the accessibility. You got to give credit to the people like us who are still doing it and still
Absolutely
showing up and not having any of that support that they have.
Yeah.
So I applaud you.
Thank you. And I applaud you too. I mean, I gotta big you up because, like I said, seeing all of your accomplishments and accolades and everything that you've done from when you were younger even till now to still stay relevant, that I literally, all I have to tell people, I'd be like, you remember Jesse from yes, girl. I'm like, that's the kind of reaction. They'd be like, yes, I know who that is. I'm like, So like, I have always been a fan of yours and I have always so admired you, like I told you. And you're awesome too. And I don't want you to ever doubt what God has put into you too. You are so talented and you're so amazing. You're such a wonderful person. I mean, acting, dancing, Lord, what else you do? What else you do? Like, what don't, I gotta ask you, what don't you do? Okay, like, part-time comedian got me out here cracking up, like, you know what I mean? So I just want you to know too, I do appreciate you giving me this platform to tell people about my journey and everything. Like, this is, like you said, this is your baby and I applaud you and I'm so proud of you for doing this. Like, keep being that voice for people, keep bringing people on here to let them tell their stories. And you know, it means a lot. It means a lot because not everybody gets a chance to tell their story and say how they feel. Like, oh man. So you're appreciated too, and I want you to know that.
Thank you. I needed to hear that as I'm yelling at you to not doubt yourself today. Sometimes it's not just doubts, to be honest. If I'm being really fucking transparent right now, it's just more of, do I want to keep doing this?
All right.
It's been one of those days. I had a musical theater audition last night and I had to do all of it and sing and dance and act. And actually I was like, oh, good. This is a great song for my range. And the acting, I was like, it's a good scene. And then today I'm just like, do I want to keep doing this? Like, is my time done? Like, is that fulfilled? Is it time for something else? And then I get onto this and I'm like, oh, I love this. This is awesome. Like this, having conversations of listening to people's stories and just letting them have a voice of being seen and heard. It's because it's like you, like I like to give back. I like to feel that, like that emotion of gratitude. Right. So I don't know. Point is we all have that regardless at any stage, but you just better not ever doubt if you can sing ever again.
Thank you. You better not doubt you could act, sing, dance, and then everything else. I don't know I can't say a triple threat because you do so much more. Like you just up there, and I admire you, and I just appreciate you seriously, man. But I know all of your no's led up to a lot of those moments where you're like, yes, I did it. So we just not gonna doubt. Me and you, we're gonna make this right now. We not gonna doubt.
It's difficult. It's difficult not to. You do because I get you. You get to that point where you're like, yeah, no, I know I can do it, but like, have I hit my peak? Am I good? Am I done? And I know I'm growing, but like, is it enough? I hear you. And it's not a coincidence that today worked out and the other times we've been trying to do didn't, because today has been those feelings for me. And so I'm yelling at you about it. And now I'm yelling at myself essentially with people watching and listening. So,
well, you need it. Okay, everybody slide in his DMs and tell him how great he is. Come on now.
Thanks.
Come on.
I don't know. You know, I appreciate you though. I because throughout my life it was like you're wearing too many hats. You're doing too many things. I came from a place of I didn't come from privilege. I had a single mama that came from
who you telling?
So
I grew up in the islands. Okay, so yeah, I know.
Yeah, you have to push harder. You have to be as well-rounded as possible. Especially when I got older, I was like, well, not just besides the fact that I love doing all the things that I do, but I also realized, because I was lucky to get in the industry when I was a kid, right? But I also realized if I want to make money, I better know how to do everything. And I'm
Yep.
grateful that I can say I assisted choreograph for one of your jobs with Kevin, who brought us in because he knew our relationship. I've choreographed for other big pop stars. I've been
Yep.
the face of H&M. I've been the lead in a film. I've danced for the biggest pop stars. I've had songs on soundtrack. I've done everything. I've directed. I've creative directed, and I'm really, really great for that. But I had to be able to do everything because how else are you going to survive? You got
Yeah.
to make a paycheck. If that shows up, you better be able to say you can do it and hope that you're the right fit and you can show up and do it because it's an opportunity to make money. I
Right.
didn't come from anything like you know? So
Had to work our behinds off, man. Listen.
still are.
And
Still
still, yep, yep. But okay,
okay.
I'm sorry. Let's
No, sorry, we went off on tangents. We're at
yeah,
56.
I'm like, we,
You know,
we, we gonna
take up
keep
the ball.
going. Sorry,
Okay.
y'all. Listen,
Sorry, y'all. All right.
this is a long time coming, y'all. Okay.
So speaking of all those things, which ones really, really set you back? Was it, I mean, I dare to say, is it after X Factor and maybe things not working out the way any of us would think would work out after you win a TV show like that?
It was a difficult transition going from that and then leaving the label and kind of just having to find myself after everything and getting all those questions of people intruding and trying to be nosy and what happened to this and what happened to that people don't know that's going on
You
behind the
have
scenes.
no idea.
They have no idea. It's like they hear this much of money and you're like and I'm like, I didn't get that. Do y'all not? And I did not get that. Like, but it's okay. Like,
Maybe you did get any of the what, like it's not that much when you're still trying to build a career. It's
yeah,
never
yeah.
you don't
And people
realize.
don't understand that. People just don't. But it's again, that's something that I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to know, and you don't. It's okay. Just know that what I dealt with, and I faced it, and I moved on from it, and I think I'm better now. I think I needed to leave that situation because
You don't need
it
to think.
put me.
Oh,
Look at where I am. Like I mean, I don't have it all. Lord knows I'm still I work a regular job. I still sing. I still I have a career in entertainment. I'm still acting, singing, everything a lot. And then I'm a full time mom, and I work full time. So like I'm literally doing it all. Like I needed that though. I needed that leave from them because I went into a state of depression, and this is what I was talking about earlier. I went into a state of depression and I stopped singing. That entire year, I didn't perform. I didn't do any gigs. I didn't accept any gigs. And I went into this thing of depression. And then I was on 3 different antidepressants. I was taking pills to try to sleep. So much that was happening in my life, and people had no idea because even through what I was dealing with, I was reaching out to everybody else. Gus, like, hey, you okay? Are you doing okay? Are you well? And not receiving that back from anybody who was like, yo, I wonder if Mel's okay. I wonder how she dealing. Like, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Sorry.
don't be.
But like, I was always that person that's checking on everybody, and nobody turned around and was like, yo, is she okay? Until I ended up in the hospital after I tried to kill myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and nobody don't know, that I ended up in the hospital after a failed attempt. And that was just God telling me, I'm not done with you, girl. I'm not done with you. Like, it took that a fail. And I was like, I wouldn't even say maybe. There is a reason why that did not happen. He is not done with me. He ain't done with me. And I did a complete 180, not a 360, because what people don't realize is when you say 360, that means you're going right back to the same point. I did a 180 and I turned completely around. I mean, what would I have done had God not been a part of my life and pushing me and my family to people who actually care? But yeah, I went through a lot. I shook the pills. I shook those antidepressants, started to lift myself up out of that funk. And I was like, Mel, there's a reason. And I will never forget it. I was literally on my bathroom floor, screaming and crying out to God. I was like, Father God, please give me a sign. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. I feel like all of my moments, I've ended up on my knees every single time on my knees, like, Lord, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Screaming out. And every time there was something that he just dropped right there in my spirit or dropped it and it just happened and just, whew, man, it's crazy. And I shook everything and I was like, Mel, you got to get off this meds. You got to get it together. You got to push. You got to push.
What
Faith
was
out
it?
dead.
What was it that allowed you to make that shift? Was it just facing death?
Not only facing death, because
I'm not saying just, but you know what I mean.
of course, like it was that, and it was in my mind like, how dare I be so selfish and do this to my family and the people that love me for real, for real.
But
How
beyond that, like take everyone else out of the equation, Mel. Take everyone else out of the equation, for a second. And what about you?
I mean, I thought about all the good things that I know I could do, that me being here, that I could do. I knew all the good that could come from me still being here. And I had to shake it. There was a multiple different, a plethora of different things that I thought about that had me like, girl, what are you doing? Like, it can't be that bad. But in that time, that's how I felt. Like, I was down and out. There was so much that was going on with me. People do not realize it, because why? They see me on some big TV show that, and then like all of my records flopped. Nobody wanted to hear the records from me, so they didn't buy them. Like, and I was dealing with all of that. I was dealing with a terrible relationship at the time that I didn't feel was fulfilling me. I was dealing with people that were around me that were stealing from me and wiping me dry. And everything. And I was going through a lot, and I was just like, Lord, I've been this good person to everybody. What's going on? Like, I've been so good to everybody. Why am I dealing with this? You know what I mean? And it made me question
Existence.
God. And I didn't want to question God, because they say don't, but people have to understand it's okay to question. It's okay to question God and be like, God, why did this happen? Because he just might answer you. He just might tell you exactly what his plan is. You're not gonna always know. You're not gonna always know, but God, he will reveal it to you, why he did what he did and why everything played out the way that it did. Every time. Whatever you believe in, whatever you like.
If you can stay around, if you can still make it to that place, it will be revealed to you, especially if you ask.
Yep. So, and he revealed it to me loud and bright and everything. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, girl, there is a reason why you are still here. Yes, you better get up and you better start singing. I shook it. I started leading praise and worship at the church.
Good.
Started finding myself. I started to gig, started to get back up there and start performing again. And I went overseas to Korea to sing, and I met all these people in Korea that just loved and adored my voice. Like, they thought I was they Whitney. They was like, I just love you so much. And I was just like, they love me.
Yeah.
They really love me. Like, and it showed me how many people truly do appreciate and love my voice and my talent. And and then I had my son, my first son, and I didn't even know the type of love that I had in me even existed. I didn't even know I could love the way that I love that little boy. He changed me in such a way that I was just like, everything is about him. My world revolves around my baby, my son. Like, I was doing everything. I had to, girl, you're going to wake up and do this job. Although you hate it, do it. You're going to do this. You're going to accept gigs that don't necessarily pay what you want them to, because you're going to take care of this baby. You're going to do what you got to do. You're like, you do whatever you have to do as a mom to take care of your babies. You said you had a single mom. You know what that is.
Yep.
You know what your mama did, Gus, to make sure that you was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, as mamas, we do it.
Yep.
And it's crazy because I, for a long time, was by myself with my son. And I wouldn't even say by myself, because from the very get-go, my fiance was there. He was present. He was there. He was there when I delivered my first son. We were only friends then. We weren't even together. We were just friends. He was just being a really good person to me and just was there for me during a dark time in my life that I had been through a lot. Even then, like, dealing with the drama of my son's sperm donor. That whole situation was a nightmare, and he was just there like, Mel, I got you. You ain't got to worry about nothing. What else, he got going on. He a piece of crap anyways. Don't worry about him. Like, I got you. To adopting my son and making him his own. And, because that's all he's ever known. That's the only dad he's ever had. And that's the only dad he's ever known. And so that's daddy. And he don't know nothing else. And that's good. I mean, then getting pregnant with twins and being like, oh, wow, I don't know if I can handle this. Like that was a lot. Like I was literally in this ultrasound room and she doing the ultrasound and she's like, um, she was like, Miss Amaro, can you give me one moment? And she turns off the screen that I was looking at in the OB's office. And I was like, why'd you turn off the screen? And she's like trying to pull her screen and kind of giving me that smile, like, nothing here. You're good. And I'm like, is something wrong? She was like, no, give me a minute. Walks out. And I'm like, is something wrong? Like, I know I'm pregnant, but what's wrong? Is there something wrong? She comes back in with like 3 other doctors and all of them are staring at the screen. And I'm like, hello, can someone tell me what is going on? And she goes, you're pregnant with twins. And I was like, what? She was like, then she turns the screen around. She's like, you see, that's one baby and that's another baby. She's like, yeah, you're having twins. I was like, I was just like, oh my God. I was like, what kind of journey is God trying to put me on now? Like, I've already been through so much and now, bam, there goes some twins. Like, crazy, man.
Are they on your side or his side?
So let his mama tell it. Oh, we got twins on our side of the family. I'm like, okay, whatever you say, mother-in-law. But then on my side, my great grandmother was a twin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's crazy because my boys are identical twins. They were my egg split, so it's not like they were 2 separate eggs and they're identical, which means that this had nothing to do with genes or being her. No, it just that was just God. God was like, woo.
Yeah.
He was like, you can handle 2 more.
Just gonna say that you can handle what I'm about to give you, and it's actually you need it.
Yeah.
So here.
And again, that whole situation was crazy because my water broke at 21 weeks, and the babies weren't even supposed to be here. They had a 5% chance of survival had I delivered at 21 weeks.
You just rejection from the universe again, just like
everything.
Another way, like that's interpreting you like, oh, I'm gonna be rejected by my body and everything else too right now.
Yep. I'm like, good job, body. Good job. Great job. Good job. So I'm literally in the hospital now because I started leaking amniotic fluid, and I was like, why am I like? Did I pee on myself? I was like, there's so much water. And I go to the hospital, I'm like, honey, your water broke. You're expected to deliver any minute now, or, in the next couple of hours. And I'm like, so I pray. I was like, Lord, you did not bring these babies this far. Come on, do what you do, Lord. Come on, Lord. And I was able to sit still for another 8.5 weeks to let them grow some more. The doctors kept telling me it was miraculous that I stayed as long as I did, giving them more chance to develop. Because at that time, their lungs were underdeveloped. Everything was underdeveloped, all the organs, so they wouldn't have survived. But I was able to sit still long enough for them to develop some more inside of me while I slowly leaked amniotic fluid. I couldn't get up. I couldn't really move. They had a bedside commode next to me for the 8.5 weeks I was in the hospital. I lived in the hospital. I started getting mail there. Isn't that crazy? That's how long I was there. I have my mail. I was like, can I have my mail here? Like, it was that long. Like, I was in the hospital for a long time. And I mean, they had a bedside commode because I couldn't walk to the bathroom because if I got up to walk, I'd leak amniotic fluid. So at that time, I had to like get up, slide my butt off the bed and put my butt there to pee or to use the bathroom. And then embarrassingly have the nurses come in and change out my bedside stuff. And I'm like, this is embarrassing. Yeah. But like, I had to do what I had to do to make sure my babies was good. Slowly but surely, like I started to adapt to being in the hospital and living there and whatnot. And I didn't get to see the sun I saw it through the window, but like I didn't go outside. I didn't get to do anything. I was in the hospital that long by myself. It gave me a lot of clarity. I just literally every day stared up at the roof and was just like, God, what are you doing? Like, what is this? What is this about? You know what I mean? Like, why am I here? And again, he revealed himself. I developed a fever and something was going on. And the doctor came to check me and she was like, you're 4 centimeters dilated. We need to get you into surgery like right now, or these babies are not going to make it again. So that's 2 times. I was just like, oh man. So went under emergency C-section. They cut me in. I didn't have a classical cesarean that goes across. They cut my belly open this way. So they cut me open that way. It was rough on my body. I needed 2 blood transfusions because I lost so much blood. I almost died. Yeah, ain't that great? Ain't that fun again? Almost dying again. I'm like, yeah, almost, that's the second time. So, it is. Anywho, so it just, but they fought in the NICU for the next 3 months to be here. So I don't know if you guys can hear them in the background. They're
say, are they calling you right now?
Yeah, they're screaming. Ah! I don't know if you hear them. Yeah, my babies are hollering upstairs. Yep. So I mean, but I'm here. But I say everything to say, I had rejection when I was 8 years old. I had it again when I was 11. I had it again when I was 15. Then I had it again when I was 18 for the X Factor thing. Then I had it even after I won X Factor. I got a rejection again that, you don't need this recording contract and we're taking it from you and you're going to figure it out. So, I did. I'm grateful for the record company and what they were able to give me and the platform that they gave me to, be who I am and build up my name and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it just, it all led up to me being here now. And I'm at the happiest I've been in a long time. I mean, like I said, I'm a mom. I'm happy in a happy, healthy relationship. I don't have it all. I ain't got thousands and thousands of dollars, but I'm surviving and happy. And I think that's the biggest and most important thing. So every rejection led up to me being here now.
Happiness is the most important thing. And when you can realize that you are thriving and winning with everything that you do have, that's when you can be at peace and really genuinely find happiness in it. Absolutely. I don't think people realize that your story is such a common thing in the entertainment world, that this happens to people all the time. And we need to give grace to everybody that pursues their dreams and it doesn't work out the way they expect it to, especially when it was supposed to happen that way. Yeah. So like, instead of asking like, why, just be kind and be like, hey, are you still doing what you're doing? Are you still whatever, just find some way to support, because it is a very, very, very heavy burden and weight to fail at that level. Hence why it is a very common thing for people to try to kill themselves, because it crushes you physically and mentally and spiritually. And it is just over from there, because what could be left after that?
Yeah.
So I just want to applaud you. And I'm so happy that you did it, Mel. You're doing it now. Anything you thought you were supposed to do or are still going to do, it's happening now because you're doing it. Your resilience and your strength is so admirable. And I think that's what a part of what you're here to do, is to make sure that you're that example and you teach that also with your voice.
Indeed. Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too, man. I truly do. Like I said, I'm grateful. I'm really, truly grateful. But yeah, man, like this journey's been tough, really, really tough. But again, I don't know how. I can't even say I don't know, because I know it's the grace of God. Again, God's grace. But I look back and I'm like, I was not supposed to make it out of that. I wasn't supposed to, but I did. So yeah. Man. Like, we here. Let's keep going. I'm going to continue to support you in every way that I can, Gus. And I know that you will continue to do the same for me, because you're here now, 10, 12 years later, and you still love me and accept me. And you my boo,
Yes.
So like, I'm grateful. Like I said, again, I'm so grateful. And I hope this podcast and everything that we're doing here blows up. I hope this entire platform gets so big beyond what you could even hope or imagine for. I hope it gets so big that it goes to, like, Apple gonna pick this up, okay? Jesus' name.
Apple, I receive that.
Spotify, everybody gonna pick it up, okay? I'm telling you, you're doing something positive, and you're doing something that people need to hear. People need to know other people's stories so that they don't think this is a walk in the park. They need to know this is not easy.
I don't like to diminish anybody's journey by saying that it's any less or greater than anybody else. But at the end of the day, we're all going through the same things. The scales may look different in one person's eyes, but that might just be because they're able to lift that weight more than somebody else could. And that lighter weight that someone else is lifting that took them to try to kill themselves is all they're capable of carrying. That's just the way that they were born and brought into this place. So Yeah, I appreciate that. I received that because I really love this. I love being able to have conversations with people and hear their stories because, just like you said, if this finds like one person to hear it and it hits their ears and it changes the trajectory of their whole life, then we're
You
doing
did
something right.
something positive. Yep, you did something right. You did
Right?
something. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So
Anything else you want to say besides the fact that I'm going to come see you hopefully in March
I
or
hope so.
shout
If you can, that would be
out?
awesome. If you can't, there's so much more to come. And
Yes,
if you
sir.
know of any theaters needing an act or wanting to like do a show or whatnot, like any theaters trying to book out it, I am about to start pushing this show because my Whitney Houston tribute, I'm hoping, is going to go global. I want it all over the world.
Yeah.
And I also heard you mention about being a creative director. I was looking for one. Why did I not? As many hats as you wear, why didn't I be like, duh?
Because people don't know
Guys,
because I don't talk about my stuff.
I know, but guess what? Now that I know,
We're
I'm gonna
going
be
to talk.
sliding in your DMs,
Let's
okay?
do
Because
it.
I need a creative director for the show. So
You don't need to slide into my DMs. We can just talk. You have my phone number.
I just like saying sliding in your DMs,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it too because it's
Man, but
slide
yes,
in, it's slide on. Okay.
I will absolutely be hitting you up about that because now we need to talk.
Yeah, we do. For sure. I would love to. I would be honored and I think we would do a great job.
Absolutely.
Well, let's end this so that we can get off of this and continue our conversation a little bit.
Yes.
And again, I might be repeating myself, but if it's worth repeating, thank you.
Absolutely.
No,
No,
thank you so much for coming on here and being as courageous and brave as you were and so open to sharing everything that you shared. You didn't have to do that. You don't have to do anything. Um, I'm really honored that you feel that safe with me to be able to share that. And I love you. Thank you so much for
I
coming.
love you too, and I appreciate you, and thank you, all my audience out there.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Fine. Thank you.
I hope this found the right ears. I hope that you saw that, and I stand by this, and this isn't me blowing, this is authentic. And if you know me, you know I don't fucking fool. I don't talk. I don't say shit I don't mean when it comes to talent. You have my favorite voice in this world. So you keep doing that. The way that you sing, I want to say this before we get off. I remember when, and this is all because of all the things people told you could and couldn't and weren't and wouldn't. Because I know with the champion heart that you have, that even when you were taking that criticism or what the rejection, even if you didn't really need it, you were still using it as a way to keep fine tuning what you know innately you could do, but in your own way. And that's so important. And you did it because when I watched you sing in person, besides Whitney, there's nobody else that I watch that can sing that big with such little effort. And we talked about this once, I think, when we were
Yes, we did. I don't know if you remember. I don't. Okay, so I remember exactly what you're talking about too because Simon walked up to me, and then right after all the dancers walked up to me and said the same thing. Simon told me, Melanie, would you mind looking like you're trying? And I'll never forget it. And then you and I think Ashley Everett, Ashley, everybody came and they was like, Mel, like, yeah, you kind of just look like you just opening your mouth and it's coming out. It was like, you don't look like you're trying.
Opening your mouth too, just like
yeah. And I was like, I'm trying. They were like, I remember me asking you, I said, should I make faces? Like, should I? And you were like, yeah, do something because you just look like it's just, oh, you open your mouth and it's just coming out. It's just, and I will never forget it because I remember the song I was singing was and I'm feeling good. And I was like there doing it and I was singing the song. And then at the end when I did the good and I did that, that's when everybody was like, whoa, girl. It was like, now you look like you're doing something. But oh my gosh, memories just flowing. Oh man.
Yeah. Yes.
This is
so we're so lucky. We're so lucky to and I don't say we're so because of what we're doing lucky, like because we were on the show together lucky, we're so lucky. No, I mean in the simplest form of we are so lucky to be sharing an experience.
Yes, absolutely.
We are so lucky we got to just share an experience. It so happened to be that, but that experience, we are just so lucky. It was amazing.
We're not lucky, we are blessed.
Yeah, all of it.
You are blessed.
Yes. Anointed.
Yeah. Come on, somebody.
Okay, we could keep talking. We're gonna get off. Again, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you to everybody that listened. And hopefully you'll come back and watch another episode. My name is Gustavo Victor Carr, and this was Rejection Reflection. Until next time, go get rejected. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. But most importantly, go out there today and get rejected, you beautiful rejects. I am Gustavo Victor Carr, and this is Rejection and Reflection. Until next time.